I noticed that she had passed away. One of the students was injured. Two of which were shot dead right next to me.
We heard from students and staff gripped by terror.
The barrel of that AR-15 just ambushed our classroom.
You feel the vibrations in your chest as the gunshots were getting closer and louder.
Oh my God, oh my God!
And the moans and groans from the kids that were shot.
I was shot 4 times.
Emotional testimony from family members of the murdered.
Daddy's girl was taken from me.
We will always hesitate before answering the question, how many kids do you have?
Medical examiners who explained to jurors the heartbreaking way they died.
Bullet came here and come through the chest.
It proceeded to pass through the upper part of the right lung.
An explosion inside of the skull.
But the Parkland shooting penalty phase jurors saw something you didn't. Evidence so graphic, so sensitive, the court prohibited it from being shared with the public. Autopsy and crime scene photos, surveillance video of Nicholas Cruz gunning down staff and students on Valentine's Day 2018.
This particular case, the Cruz case, is an exceptional case based on all the horrific facts that are in there.
Also consider that jurors in this case walked the path the shooter did, viewing the blood-stained hallways and classrooms of the 1200 building at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, preserved as a crime scene since the brutal school shooting.
From the jurors' perspective, they have to see this and absorb it and internalize it.
Some legal analysts, like law professor Craig Trocino.
We're learning more and more these days of something called secondary trauma. If they're not having it now, they will eventually.
And mental health experts like Dr. Dan Bober.
There is a growing body of evidence that jurors who witness horrific cases in the form of video, autopsy photos, testimony can actually experience PTSD-like symptoms.
Say harrowing cases like this one can haunt jurors long after they leave the jury box.
Particularly the Parkland trial, there's a lot of trauma there. There's a lot of graphic videos and autopsy photos and testimony. Any person who's exposed to this would be going through an extremely stressful event and has the possibility of developing vicarious trauma.
While attorneys and judges may be accustomed to viewing graphic images, many jurors are not.
It was only recently that lawyers started being aware of it. Back in the day, in the early 90s, when I started as a lawyer, and you had to face these things and you got emotional about them, you couldn't get emotional. You had to be, macho, rub some dirt on it, get back out on the field and play. But now we know better.
He adds there is growing awareness in the legal community of the mental health impacts to jurors exposed to emotional testimony and evidence while performing their civic duty.
Jurors are coming out of their community, they're coming out of their jobs, they're going through this process, they're not allowed to talk to their family or their friends about what's going on.
At this time, the sheriff's office is going to escort the jurors out of the courtroom.
We need to support them. After the verdict is rendered, then they should be told, this is a real thing. If you're feeling this way, these are the symptoms, and here's a number you can call to get help.
In Fort Lauderdale, Christina Vasquez, Local 10 News.